Here we go. It's another Kuei-Jin. It's Kuei-June, everybody.
Is that a thing? Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing. We've been doing a bunch of Kuei-Jin episodes, but we don't have enough days in June to actually do it. So we're going to have a Kuei-June and a Kuei-July. That's the plan.
Okay. I'm okay with this. I think this is funny.
Like half the month of each, so it's eventually going to come up to be a full month in length. It was just a month was chopped up and spread out between 2 different months at random weeks. I'm also trying to figure out what we're going to do for last week of June because I'm trying to plan a beach trip during that time. I'm going to the state that has the cheapest cost of living in the entire eastern seaboard.
Which is?
South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Going to Myrtle Beach?
Everything is well, no, not Myrtle Beach. Everything is less expensive there, but you make less money.
That's fair.
So it kind of balances out. It's better for you to move to South Carolina than be born in South Carolina. It's not really a place to start a family.
I suppose
that's where Wings of Redemption lives, by the way. In case you want to know how Wings of Redemption, how you want to know that Wings of Redemption is still alive, it's because he lives in South Carolina.
I honestly forgot.
It's the only reason why he's still alive. This man makes no money. He's over here. Well, whenever you're feeling bad about finances, just remember you're doing better financially than Ethan Ralph. Let's get into this episode.
Yep.
We're going into the Cranes. Chinese Ventrue. In a nutshell. This is basically what they are in a nutshell. Well, no, I can't say it with 1,000 Whispers, because 1,000 Whispers really are its own thing. But every other Kuei-Jin Dharma path at least has a direct connection to a Vampire the Masquerade clan. That's something that's very helpful. We did our Zamichi the last time, the Devil Tigers, so now we're doing our version of the Ventrue. For this one, we have a man who is now completely enthusiastic with the Kuei-Jin. We got Mandrake in the call. First time he's been in one of these episodes for a while. And we got Solstice with us as well. I have never had you two in an episode before. This is a brand new dynamic we're testing.
Yes. New folks and new jokes.
He's got a good dynamic. He's evil and mean. Let's go ahead. Let's get into this. History. We are going to briefly bring up a genre. Do you know what a wuxia story is?
I actually do not.
A wuxia story is more like the Chinese samurai flick, or the Chinese Western movie, or the Chinese story of knights and dragons. It's their very traditional, super Chinese storytelling genre, is what I'm trying to say here. Where it can be summarized as a man who's very talented at martial arts or swordplay or any other form of combat gets involved fighting an evil, corrupt system that controls a land, and he gets in a fight, and there's some melodrama involved, and he wins the fight, and he comes back, and it's awesome, and that's the story for you. Where, Kyle, if you need any examples for what a wuxia story is that you are familiar with, Fist of the North Star.
I mean, that's Japanese though, so that would be just
a Japanese, but for beat in terms of archetypes, it follows a wuxia story.
So more so like Ip Man then, or something like that.
Yeah, but also, even though it sucks, Sword Art Online also follows it as well.
I guess so, yeah.
And of course, you have a bunch of Chinese movies as well, where even though it's more like a parody of it, Big Trouble in Little China actually does work as a wuxia story. And of course, the one that everybody knows the most, and of course, deserves all the flowers and cake that comes its way, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Of course, is an incredible movie that's, of course, always worth a watch, always worth checking out. I love old Chinese Hong Kong movies. Like Fist of the... what was it? The Master of the White Lotus?
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love that movie.
I need to go back and watch like some of those like Shaolin 90s Hong Kong action films. Like
Bruce Lee's pretty good, but Gordon Liu was pretty underrated as an actor. He's pretty good.
I don't know. The closest I've got as far as Hong Kong cinema is John Woo.
And of course he's the guy that made Face Off.
Little China again later today.
Go watch a Chinese movie after watch this episode. Let's get into this. Unless it's a modern Chinese movie, which is not as good because it's all fucking cheap as shit. But Niza was not that bad in terms of animation quality. I thought Nizal looked like a fucking gremlin in the movie, but everyone else looked pretty cool. Going into what we got, we have a wuxia story to begin with. The Ancient Emperor. This is, for context sake, because I think the book forgot to tell you this. This takes place during the time of Legends when Mount Meru still existed. We still had a Mount Meru during this time. And you had the Yellow Emperor, who was, of course, look over the land, and everything was good. We had a beautiful one Kuei who protected the people, fought back the forces of the worm, and everything was cool. And what happened is that a guy called Master Zhu Ying, who was a Resplendent Crane back when they were called their proto-name, the Shining Ice Guardians. Damn, that's a mouthful.
Gotta love that name.
I will say it's a little bit cooler, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Decided that I think the way that the one Kuei is doing everything is bullshit. I disavow our own system of law, and I hate the Dharmas. And I'm going to say no Kuei-Jin will ever learn anything ancient ever again. They're going to follow new laws that I make, and all the old traditions are now illegal, and my laws are the only ones you should follow. And if I catch you going against these, I will have you killed, and if I catch you with any records, I will have them destroyed. And so he did. And then Mount Meru fell. Awesome. And now the gateway to heaven is now gone, and we no longer have a one Kuei. We now have a Kuei-Jin. Thank you.
Yep, good job. You fucked it up.
And
quite the big leap forward.
More like a great leap backwards in this case.
There might be some other interpretations as well as to what they really screwed up, and
because it's more allegorical. It's like listening to the Hebrews tell a story where they don't get hung up on individual details. They just want to get the big picture across. I mean, after all, you don't learn every little facet of Moses' life in the book of Exodus.
No, you learn that, he was set in a river by his mother. The Egyptians discovered him. He grows up as a prince, realizes his heritage, goes to his people, goes back to Egypt, says, "Let my people go." And then they do, and then they don't, and then they do anyway, and then they worship the bull and water the desert for 4 years.
And with Martin Short, and then all the firstborn sons died, and he split the Red Sea, and everything was awesome.
Yep, basically.
Zhu Ying ruled for many years, and it sucked. And everybody was evil as shit during this time. We went from Kuei-Jin to Akuma. People just fully letting the Po nature take over them. And devil tigers were everywhere. If you want, I think we went over the ratio before, like, around, say, 40% of Kuei-Jin are devil tigers. In this case, it would be like 80% of them are devil tigers.
It's the easiest path to follow. It was all yang.
And then they just jumped right into being Akuma, so no different than Fomori. Granted, they're Fomori, but better.
Have you seen the image? Have you seen the image of the Akuma in the Kuei-Jin companion? That shit looks sexy as shit.
Yeah,
who wouldn't want to look that sexy?
And then sometimes they look like crazy spider people.
Yes.
And everything was terrible. China was not a place to live. Zhu Ying was strong. Nobody could ever challenge him. Until one of his ministers, Cao Cao, spelled Chaokao, had a vision one day of a great crane standing on a block of ice, who picked up a frog, had it in his jaws, put the frog down on the ice, and the frog turned into a butterfly. And Cao Cao realized from that vision, I know what I have to do. The book doesn't really break down what he saw in the vision and what everything was interpreted as, but that's not the point. He discovered the way of the Resplendent Crane. He decided that he was going to go and fix everything that Zhu Ying destroyed. So he decided he was going to lead an insurrection. He was going to lead a small army of people that hated Zhu Ying and realized that he was an idiot, and they were going to throw him out of office. And it began with Cao Cao gaslighting him. He gifted him with a horse. And it was not a horse. It was a stag. He comes over to Zhu Ying and says, Honored ancestor, is this not a great horse I bring before you? Zhu Ying says, "That's not a horse, that's a stag. Anyone can see that. Do you think me mad?" And Chow Kao goes, "No, it's a horse." Does everyone else think it's a horse? Everybody say a horse, say "hey." Everybody in the room said, "Hey, it's a horse." And then Chow Kao looked over and said, "Oh, the people on my side." And it was just a constant string of gaslighting where he just kept making an ass of Zhu Ying again and again and again until people believed he gaslit the gaslighting by having people believe that Zhu Ying actually was an idiot and then led a rebellion. And then when he led the rebellion, he had a group of other Kuei-Jin at his back that were Resplendent Cranesmen as well. And they all fought and pushed back against Akuma, killed them all, sent them back to Yomi. They caught up to Zhu Ying, and he was saying, "Please let me live only as a Mandarin. And if not as a Mandarin, then as one of your subjects. And if not as one of your subjects, then as a Chimei. Please let me live." And Cao Cao said no and beheaded him. And then he was dead, and then he killed off his Akuma followers, and the land's honor was restored. He ruled over it for as long as he still existed, and it was awesome. The end.
Sometimes it's better just to not deal with the bullshit of having your scheming bastard former leader show back up and just kill him. Let's just fucking kill him.
That's something you're going to see in this. There is no mercy with the Resplendent Cranes.
There's no honor or mercy for those who are wicked and subterfugious.
I said before,
they only have mercy for those who are young and inexperienced.
Yes.
And it's only a brief period of mercy.
There's a small grace period with the Resplendent Cranes where it's a period of ignorance where, okay, you didn't know any better, let me correct you on that. There's an arbitrary limit you pass in age where if you mess up then, a Resplendent Crane is just going to kill you. I had it wrong when we did the first episode on the Kuei-Jin, where I said that the Resplendent Cranes were virtuous. Not exactly. Their stuff can be interpreted as virtuous at times, but it's more lawful than anything else.
Yeah, that's what I also got. It's lawful above all else, but it's lawful. Goes from lawful neutral to lawful good to sometimes a bit of lawful evil.
You know the D&D alignment chart, of course. Everybody knows that because it's a meme. Now, you of course know, I think some of you know, Shin Megami Tensei, where it molded itself after that alignment chart, but then realized there was a little bit of a surface level arbitration when it came to it. So they got rid of good and evil and just had it be lawful, neutral, chaotic. This is kind of scale to go off of. The Kuei-Jin Resplendent Cranes are in the lawful category, and they will never leave that category. The deepest pockets, all the way against the wall of that alignment scales where the Resplendent Cranes are. I think it was Anakin in the server who asked me earlier today, am I right about that, Slowstone Mandrake? Who said...
about what?
On a scale of the Shi to the Silver Fangs, how competent are the Resplendent Cranes as leaders? And I said they're right next to the Shi in competency. Because as we'll go into detail...
So they got their shit together.
The only reason why we have a functioning Kuei-Jin society is because of the Resplendent Cranes. If they were not doing what they were doing, we would have complete chaos in Asia, and we'd basically have a Liabon situation where we just have a bunch of disconnected coteries, not even a real faction or a real clan politic structure, just doing whatever they want in their pocket of Africa, and then nothing ever really changes besides constant turf wars. So nothing changes but the constant change. Paradoxically with the Liabon. But continuing on, the crane and the eye. So you remember Zhui, the allegorical character of Zhui? Where we're not entirely sure if Zhui was real or not, but that's not really anything you need to worry about. They talk about Zhui. They say that after Mount Meru was gone and Zhu Ying was gone, we had this guy Zhui who was going around thinking about how horrible it was that we were no longer one Shan, we were Kuei-Jin. And that August percentage of Jade was gone. There was no contacting him. There was a man's pathway directly to speaking with God was gone. And we just had a yellow Jade Emperor to talk to, and that was it. So he wandered around for years trying to find out an answer. He went under a bush, over a mountain, through the forest, the deserts, the rivers, through the snow. No place could he find in real enlightenment. He walked into a lake and just sat in the lake until his skin turned green and he began to bloat from water, where he was just rotting in the water. And then just came up and almost froze solid after he climbed out of that lake. And he looked over to the side and he saw a crane stick its beak into the water, pull a frog out, put the frog on the ice, and then the frog became a butterfly. And then Shrey looked at that for a moment and thought, I got it. I know what we've got to do. We're never going to see heaven again. It's not going to happen, not in this lifetime or any lifetime we live after that. Even if we reincarnate, even if we reach enlightenment, we're never going to get to the point where we ever see heaven. But we can try to replicate it on Earth, but how are we going to do that? We're going to do it by being the leading authority in the world. We're going to establish a code of laws and behavior, and they're going to be perfect. And we're going to say, you need to follow this because it is the right thing to do, morally and logically. And by holding on to those values, we will create the best place on Earth, and we'll try to spread that doctrine across the world, and try to make the world like Mount Meru was still here, even though it never will be. They're trying to get as next to normal as possible in a world where they know that normal no longer exists. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Trying to at least
It does.
What?
So their predecessors, the Wuxian, was it? They
Yeah, the Wan Shan, yeah.
Yeah, Wanshan. They didn't escape from hell. That's not their origin, is it?
Oh no, it's because the Wan Shan all fell to the worm and became Kuei-Jin.
Yeah. But someone became one of them not by escaping from hell, but like by other nonsense divine revelation.
Oh yeah, the original Wan Shan were all corrupted and became Kuei-Jin. Every Kuei-Jin that came after the original 10,000 batch escaped from hell. That's how the
Yeah,
system
and
works.
you can kind of lay the blame on that according to the 10,000 Hells, I think it's that book.
Yes.
To one specific devil, Yama Queen, that just seduced one, and then like that guy became the lead general of corruption, and then just caused all the other Wan Shan to fail or some shit like that.
The Defiler Worm doing what she does best.
Yes, and she looks very sexy, apparently.
So Zhui came back and said, we are going to set up the fivefold way. We're going to have 5 dharmas. We're going to have the Resplendent Cranes, and we're the guys who are objectively right, and everybody should be us. But to make sure that we do not go insane, we're going to have 4 other dharmas keep us in check. We're going to have the Devil Tigers continue to exist to remind us what we shouldn't be. You're our antithesis, and that's the only reason why we allow you to live, because if you were dead, we would become the same as you without recognizing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Then
I
we
mean,
have-
it's good to have
what-
they don't forget the lessons of history.
And then we're going
Loyal
to have
opposition.
bone flowers, and we're going to have thrashing dragons to really exemplify what yang and yin are supposed to be, but we're not going to let it control our lives. And then we're going to have guys that do none of it and all of it at the same time, the Thousand Whispers, in the middle. And we have 4 other dharmas. Get them out of here. They're all trash. I want you to kill these guys. And so they did. And we have the 4 heretical dharmas because of that. And
Let's
then after
just fucking kill them.
And after establishing that, they said, we're now going to codify our behaviors. We're going to call it the 8 Lotus Path. And I think we've mentioned that twice in these episodes already. We finally get to go into details as to what this litany is. We finally get to go over the laws. Not yet, though. We got a little bit more to explain first. And afterwards, they set it up. And their mission is this. You know how with the Devil Tigers, they said the 6th age was going to come no matter what, it wasn't going to matter. And so they need to prepare for the 6th age, so when the chaos does arrive, they can thrive in it. The Resplendent Cranes' plan for when the 6th age does arrive is that it will never arrive. Do not let the 6th age happen. Do not let it happen. Stay in the 5th age forever. They know that you cannot rewind time. Even if you're a mage, you cannot do it. There's always a stipulation of time 5's time travel. You gotta keep that wheel from spinning, grip it. Do not let the 5th age scroll into the 6th age, it will ruin everything. They're going to set their age into 5th, they're going to set their heaven into 5th age, and they're going to try to maintain that. They're going to set up a figurative or literal wall, and they're going to call it heaven, that will stop the Wheel of Ages from turning, and we're going to live in this period forever. How weaverish does that sound? Very much like, right?
Yes.
Very
Though they
much
do
so.
mention that. Sorry. They do mention that, like, oh, our pupils have despaired because we fucked up in the 3rd age and we couldn't stop it from getting to the 4th age, and now we are despairing because we couldn't keep it from the 5th age, from sort of the 4th age going to the 5th age. Like, these guys are just taking L's despite all of their good intentions, unfortunately.
It's like you're trying to hold on to sand. You have a castle made out of sand that you pick up and you want to carry with you, but then the sand begins to sift through your fingers, and every step you take, the sand will continue to sift through it. You want to hold on to it, but change comes to everybody, and that's something that does not change. You're going to try to hold on to this world that you know deep down inside you cannot maintain, but you're going to try your damnedest anyway. That is the Sisyphean task of the Kuei-Jin, and Resplendent Cranes especially. They're going to try to hold on to it the best they can because, after all, it's their first law. If you don't have hope, your life will mean nothing. And so we'll go ahead and talk about the Eightfold Path now. The first tenet. Well, actually, no. Before we go into Eightfold Path, we have to talk about the other laws. We have a litany to go over with the Resplendent Cranes. It's called the Living Law. It is a living document of laws that never change. That's not really what a living document is now, is it?
No, it seems antithetical, really.
But here are your laws. We have multiple tenets for you, and you will follow them. The Resplendent Cranes say as they put a loaded gun to your head. The first tenet: follow the 8 Lotus Path. Okay. So the first law is follow the law.
Yes. That's very Chinese of them, honestly. It's like the 3 great philosophies that were founded in China during the Middle Age were Confucianism, which is mutual honor and respect, Taoism, which is go with the flow, and then authoritarianism, which is fuck you, obey the law.
Yes.
Well, we'll see the interpretation of their 8 Lotus Path immediately after here.
Yes.
The first lotus being like the recognition of hope, and that they can prevent the wheel from turning.
Yes. It's a lie that is law. But as we've discussed before, apocalypse is going to happen, and it did happen 2 years after these books were printed. But they're going to try to hold on to it the best they can. This just reminds me. First rule of Fight Club: do not talk about Fight Club. This is how this comes across.
It sounds like it, yeah.
All right. Next up, second tenet: follow the 5-fold way. You got a dharma? Follow it. Do not step out of your lane. Stay in the lane of your dharma. Do not change dharmas. You can, but don't do it.
Isn't that antithetical, though? Like, I think...
And certainly don't change to a
in...
radical dharma.
Yes.
If
I
it's
think to an extent it is incentivized to change dharma at least once in your life, I think.
to the Resplendent Cranes.
Fair point.
Yeah, if you're a crane already, do not change your mind. But if you're anyone else, we'll bring you in. You can just reset your dharma score and we'll help you catch up to speed. Third tenet: when you lose control, make amends. The demon guides you, but does not own you. You know, if you break a plate and you just apologize to the plate won't put itself back together. You have to glue the plate back together, or buy a new one and put it on the shelf where the last plate that broke was supposed to be. If you fuck up, fix your mistake yourself. Or if it's a mistake that cannot be fixed, try to compensate for it the best you can. If you ever offend somebody, make the best amends you can to fix the relationship. If you lose a territory, immediately get that territory back. If a space is compromised, try to fix it. If a secret is revealed, kill who knows the secret. That. If you fuck up, take accountability for your fuck up.
Wow,
Which
if
makes
only
sense,
the
right?
fucking Garo Nation had that.
Is that
But they don't commit seppuku, do they? There's Resplendent Cranes.
Nope. It's they're more honorable than the Coronation, then, aren't they?
In a way, yeah.
The fourth tenet: when injustice or corruption appears, correct it to the best of your ability. Where it sounds normal at first, right? They say, "Oh, if a system has gone bad, you gotta go in and fix it," right? And yeah, as we said before, there's a period of ignorance where, if you really did not know any better, if you didn't know what your actions were going to do, I didn't know I was going to hurt people by dumping toxic waste into the river. I didn't know that running over people in my car kills them. You just go in and you fix that. But if you
that kills people.
that kills people. But if you knew what you were doing, well, there's only one solution for that: death. The Resplendent Cranes are firm believers in capital punishment.
I mean, don't sell
Kinda
them to me too hard. Yeah, don't sell them to me too hard. I'm already on board.
Yeah.
I think this is just a fucking Resplendent Crane sales pitch, this whole thing.
Yeah.
You're at least familiar with Judge Dredd, right?
Yes.
You know about Judge Death?
No.
That is a nemesis character that was made for Judge Dredd, who is Judge Dredd but even more radical. His catchphrase being, "The crime is life, the sentence is death." That's the Resplendent Cranes.
I'm gonna be honest, that kind of goes hard. I'm not even gonna lie.
Kyle, you want to know what he looks like too?
Please.
Let me go ahead and put some in studio notes. That's what he looks like.
That's kind of fucking awesome. I'm not even joking.
Damn.
The way that Judge Dredd is drawn, everything about those comics is so good. It's so fun to read a Judge Dredd comic.
Yeah, I should go back and
Yes.
read them at some point. If I can get my hands on one.
Also, it's funny, Adi Shankar, the guy who ruined Devil May Cry, he made a Judge Dredd movie that was animated. It was actually pretty good.
So he has the
okay.
capacity to actually do something right if Netflix isn't involved.
He just chooses to make shit. It's like Adam Sandler, but with animated movies. And next up,
Mediocrity is a choice.
the fifth element. Fifth element. Oh, shit. We're talking about movies.
God damn it.
The fifth tenet: be generous to the worthy, defend the weak, and instruct the young and errant. If you see someone who's doing the right thing, make sure nothing bad happens to them. Step in, be like a small guardian angel. Do not show your face to the guy. Let the masquerade stay in place. Don't let everyone in China know that there's a secret group of Jiangxi that call themselves the Cranes. They're looking over them to make sure nothing bad happens to them. Maintain a masquerade. But if you hear that there are some Akuma that are going to try to kill this guy, make sure that Akuma don't do that. If you see that this guy is in debt to the Yakuza, try to fix that with your connections. If you see that this guy is medically ill, he's dying of a disease, try to do the best to remedy him. If he's weak and if he can't defend himself, step in and defend him directly. And if you see somebody who is young, who's got a good heart, make sure you help him find the steps that he needs to become the person that he needs to be. Sounds pretty virtuous, right? Well, is it virtuous, or
Where's
is it
the
more
catch?
that the virtue is in service to the society that the Resplendent Cranes are building?
I mean, in a way, it is still, because, like, one thing about, like, a lot of historical Chinese societies, or just historical Asian societies, is they prefer, like, harmony as their
Yes.
main tenet of civilization. And being
Yes.
able to do so and instructing people and, being generous, defending the weak, instructing the young, that all helps create a social cohesion that makes it much more manageable and overall just a better functioning society in general. So while it is in a way self-serving, I feel like it still morally has a decent place.
When it comes to school, for example, I hated high school where I did all of my assignments. I got A's and everything, and I did the same in college. And I hated doing it, but I only did it out of obligation. And of course, you would ask yourself this all the time: when are we ever going to use this outside of school? But you gotta look at the more philosophical argument for education as well. Did it actually hurt me to do some of the stuff that I learned in school? Did it hurt me to know mathematics? Did it hurt me to read these books, know these sciences? No. A more enlightened society is going to be a more prosperous, productive one that will stand the test of time. Therefore, it is virtuous for you to be knowledgeable, for a virtuous society is the kind of society that is going to last. There's a reason why Sodom was destroyed and we don't have any Sodomites living today. You all, well, with the definition of the word sodomite, you have to become one.
Yes.
To the power of ass fucking.
It is what it
This
says in the
also
book.
tells us basically that, that if you are worthy, whatever that means, that you can kind of get something out of the Resplendent Cranes for nothing.
Yes. Yeah. Pay good forward when you see it. But
Yes.
I do have to see it as a little bit double dealing though, because it's more that we want you to be good people, for it's in service to the society that we're building. There's still a small element of control in that tenet.
Yes. Though this tenant and the previous tenant makes me think of them a little bit like D&D Paladin-ish to an extent.
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Very much Oath of the Crown kind of paladins. It is the law first and foremost. The law must be upheld. I dedicate my entire life to the service of the law. That kind of paladin. Not the Vengeance Paladin. Well, no, actually, the Vengeance Paladin as well, because the Resplendent Cranes have a shitload of hitmen. There's no secret to anybody that they have that. Next up, the sixth tenet. When the wicked will not listen to reason, straighten them as you were once straightened. You know, if you see evil, do evil unto it and destroy the evil altogether. You want to know about a cycle of revenge? How about it's not a cycle? How about what you do in retaliation to evil is so bad and heinous that they don't ever want to get up and try again?
Show them how high is the price of their treachery.
They say, you went to hell as Kuei-Jin. You knew what torture looked like. You knew what misery looked like. If you see somebody causing misery, let them know what you felt in hell. And let's see if they get back up from that.
And how does this little tenant, big tenant, different contrast with the philosophy of the Devil Tigers? How would you juxtapose those?
With the Devil Tigers, I said this before when we were having that conversation earlier today. When it comes to the Devil Tigers and the Resplendent Cranes, it's the same difference between Michael Jackson and Prince. With the Devil Tigers, when it comes to anything they do, they have to sit on it, think about every possible scenario, every way that a chain of events could turn out. Every variable must be accounted for. When they come up with a perfect plan of action, then they'll do something. With a Resplendent Crane, they say, there's an issue, we're solving that issue today. We are putting everything down, we're getting that issue fixed right here, right now. We are putting nothing off. And then they go in, do the thing, and the thing happens, off to the next project. And what I mean by that analogy is, when it came to making music, Michael Jackson would make a song, and it would sit on it for 4 years, tweaking it, changing things here or there, or just rewriting it entirely, before he'd finally release it, and it'll be perfect when he released it. And meanwhile, Prince would be in a studio writing around 10 songs a day, picking the best ones, and then recording those. The difference between the two.
Yep.
So yeah, this tenet basically calls on you to judge people.
Yes.
Is the individual action a flower that's wilted, or is it a weed that needs to be rooted out?
Well, what do you think it is?
I mean, in a way, it's still quality over quantity, but it's different. It's different, in a way where it's where Michael Jackson has the one, and then he spends forever on it, and then Prince writes 10 of them, and then has to figure out which one's the best out of all of them. You're still choosing quality, but the pursuit of quality is different.
Yes. I repeat my previous statement. You didn't have to sell the Resplendent Cranes to me further, but you keep doing it for some reason.
Again, that's what we're doing this episode.
Why did you judge me? Why did you judge me? You killed innocent people. A means to an end. You started a massacre. I caused a revolution. You betrayed the law. Law. I betrayed this.
Such a ridiculous fucking movie.
It's in it. Defend the ghost of your family and protect your living relations. Do not let them see you, however. You may become a disgrace to their honor. When they say family, they are not talking about your parents or your kids. They're talking about other Resplendent Cranes. They're saying look out for each other, but don't let another crane know that you fixed them. Even though they already know that you fixed them because this is a law that all the Resplendent Cranes follow. But don't let them know that you're following it.
Yep.
A little paradoxical.
That is one thing we have noticed through a number of these. A lot of these seem either outright antithetical, as in they don't make a whole lot of sense, or they contradict themselves.
I think what it is if you see a crane struggling that badly, do go in and help them, but don't let them know because you don't want the crane thinking they're incompetent. Because if you have any sort of self-doubt, you're going to start losing faith in your Dharma, and you might quit and join the Devil Tigers or something crazy like that.
Well, to me, it seems like this does extend beyond just treating your Wu and your fellow Resplendent Cranes as your family. It tells us here to beware of the impulse to abandon your descendants and the ghosts of your parents to enter the mountains and search for answers. They won't be found there.
So you say it does involve an actual blood relationship element to it.
Yes, and this might in some ways be why this Dharma is not very successful at moving on and ascending.
Oh hell no! They have no
attachments for themselves.
They have no intention of moving on. It's very much like the Stygians in Breath the Oblivion. You set up a whole system to keep rates here for as long as possible instead of what you should have been doing the entire time, which was ascending. But after all, with the plan to stop the Wheel of Ages from turning, the Resplendent Cranes were never going to do that, now were they?
Well, they know it's inevitable. It's just like the Black Fury saying, the worm is a force of nature. We can't stop it.
The 8th tenet, maintain your dignity, honor, and composure. You are an example of what the damned can become. Be the face of the Resplendent Cranes. You know how in World of Darkness, how we have this stereotypes page in all these books? And they tend to come from 1 or 2 interactions with a group of vampires, werewolves, or mages?
Yes.
Especially when it came to the Fianna talking about the Red Talons and the Red Talons talking about the Fianna. But how it felt like when we were listening to a narrator, they only met one of that werewolf in their life.
Yes.
Well, the Resplendent Cranes notice this. And they say, if we have a single bad apple in our group, it will spoil the bunch. We need to be on the same page because as a Resplendent Crane, your actions do represent all of us. You have to be exemplary. You have to be a paragon. You have to do the righteous thing at all times. Because if you make one mistake, it will reflect on all of us. You might be saying, oh, that only matters to this people. Well, those people are more common than you think they are. They're called normies for a reason. This is what the most common denominator of people do think. And if you do this, then everyone will think this, and word will get around about it. Do your job, do it right, don't fuck it up, and it will make it so that we are taken more seriously when we need to enforce our laws. So, makes sense, right?
Yeah, it makes the most sense. It's honestly rather smart that they noticed this when I don't think any other faction has.
They don't notice that they're under a microscope according to everyone else in the World of Darkness.
Exactly.
So, is this the first truly self-aware group we're reading about in the World of Darkness?
It certainly seems like it, yeah.
And along with this, too, you mentioned it before, Kyle, with Confucianism. Now,
yes.
when it comes to Asian religions, You can make the argument that Buddhism and Taoism are more philosophies than they are religions.
Yes.
Confucianism is more of a model of behavior than it's a philosophy, than it's a religion. It is a list of laws saying you gotta honor the family, you gotta be loyal to those in power, you respect authority when the authority is good, you discipline yourself, and you value academic learning. And a lot of what we just said tends to apply to the Resplendent Cranes as well.
Yes.
This is almost they're almost one for one when it comes to Confucian followings.
They're Confucian vampires. It's kind of interesting.
Is that? So, an actual religious vampire, not the posers that the Sabra are.
Yeah.
The Sabra will say, you say to the Sabra, "Oh, what's your favorite book of the Bible?" And the Sabra go, "I love the whole Bible. I love every bit of the Bible. Don't try to box me in."
Exactly. It's like asking somebody to pick a favorite song.
Excuse me. Fake news. Going into the 8 Lotus Path. Let us review the laws. We just got done with laws, but guess what? There's more laws. It's the law episode after all.
They
In
are
fact, these
the
are all
most
the first
lawful,
law.
so it just makes sense. They have all these laws.
All right. The first law of the first lotus. We're going off the 8 Lotus Path. We have 8 lotuses to go over. The first of the lotuses is recognition of hope. Be hopeful. Do not fall into despair. Do not be a nihilist. There is something to continue to live on for as a Kuei-Jin. You're here for a reason. Heaven gave you an exit out of hell, and heaven wants you to build it in the world. You have a reason to be here, and you need to hope that heaven can be made, for that is the reason that you exist. Does that make sense, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that
You were
just made
given a
me
shot.
think of
Don't
like,
fuck it up.
yeah, that just made me think of like, there's this Kuei-Jin, like still in the Shumei phase, and he's like on his knees in the beach, and he's just crying out in happiness when he realizes, I'm here for a reason. Oh my god, I'm here for a reason.
It feels good to know that, right? Feeling that there is
Yeah, it
something in the
does.
world that you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
The second lotus, virtuous existence. Be a good man, because as we said before, a virtuous society is a long-lasting society. So, be on your best behavior so we can take over the world. I mean, or create heaven.
Yeah, basically.
The third lotus, nurture. If you see somebody who does not know their left from their right from wrong, how about you go in and you fix it? We have children that might have a nature, but by nurturing them, you can get them around the nature. They might be bad people on the inside, but they know not to act on their bad impulses. They say that nurture is more important than nature, even though it's both. But that's not the way that the Resplendent Cranes see it. They believe that if you are taught these laws and they're just hammered into your head through your thick skull, and you internalize these laws, you can become a righteous, good person, even though in the inside you're a piece of shit that nobody would ever like. But by following our laws, we can make you likable. Yeah.
Yes.
Be a good little boy. Drink your milk, tie your shoes, go to school, and everything will work out just fine for you. There is no such thing as a teacher's pet. The fourth lotus, purgation of the wicked. If you see somebody who's bad, well, how about you just fucking kill them? So, Kyle, it's you.
Yep. You know what? I love this. This is great. We should do this 100%.
I said before we were doing a Devil's Tigers episode that if you were to play as a Kuei-Jin, this would be the one for you.
No, I think this is more my speed. I like
this.
Yeah,
I said that. I like the Resplendent Cranes, this is how you play characters.
Yes. This is precisely what I would do. It was like, oh, you're an evil son of a bitch? Well, let me introduce you to my friend, Mr. Smith & Wesson.
How many times in D&D did you play a paladin and a cleric?
Well, I mean, I've mostly just played Cult, but I don't think I've gotten the chance to play a paladin. Now I'm thinking
when it came to the one-shot character, I swear you did a paladin at least once, but
I don't think I did. No, I've played a barbarian, I've played a fighter, I've played a bard, I've played
because
a
I remember
sorcerer.
seeing you do a gunslinger and a ranger, but every other character I've seen you make has been a cleric.
that's not necessarily true. I mean, Kip
Well-
again was another gunfighter because I didn't really get to finish Marcus because I left to focus on college.
And even when we were doing the D&D video game, when we went to that trip in Boston, you immediately gravitated to cleric when we were playing that game.
Again, I like playing support classes. I'm very good at playing support classes.
The fifth lotus is instruction. Now, how do we know that we're doing the right thing? How do we know that these are the laws and everything? We're going to get these instructions down. We're going to record this. We're going to create these laws upon laws and all these different subsections and subcodes and subtext to all these different laws. We're going to write this down so you don't make any mistakes. There is going to be one correct living law way to do this. And if you forget what it is, how about you just read the instructions to life that we wrote so you remember how to be a proper Resplendent Crane.
Do the reading.
The sixth lotus, law. Law is everything. Law is absolute. Do not break it, for it is how we will create heaven. Do not listen to what the Po says. The Po is chaos. Listen to the Hun. The Hun is law. Do as the Hun says, and we will have heaven on earth. The seventh lotus, harmony. It's going to. You might be thinking, well, why is this one so far back? Are you going to have peace with yourself as a Kuei-Jin anytime soon? I mean,
Probably not. No, much like, with Western Canaanites, you still have a beast in you. And the whole idea is fighting that beast within you.
you have a constant Po side of you that's at the back of your brain nagging at you to do something evil all day, every day. And the yin and yang paths are looking pretty tasty as well. It's going to take a long time until you finally get your Hun in a point where it's strong enough to resist these. And when you finally get to that point, it will be harmony. You know what will cause pleasure, anger, or sorrow for you, and you know how to temper it. You know that you cannot live a life of constant happiness, because that's hedonism. You can't live a life of constant anger, you'll drive yourself insane, and you can't live a life of sorrow, that's depression. When you find an even balance between the three, so you don't forget any of these emotions, and you don't live in an overabundance of any of these emotions, and forget who you are and go into insanity. Nope. Basically the path of harmony from the Sabbat. Almost in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Come to peace with your own supernatural existence. And finally, the eighth lotus, which you will never accomplish as a Resplendent Crane, transcend the living world. Ultimately, what they're saying is, very much like Buddhism, have a detachment from the material. All this stuff around you, it's an illusion. It is here to keep you here. Do not let it distract you, for it is temporary and it will fall away. Instead, focus on the heaven project that we have, for the heaven will last forever. Until it doesn't, because Gehenna happens, or Apocalypse happens, or Mass Dissension happens. Whatever time a judgment scenario ends up happening, happens. But until then, heaven was going to last, theoretically, forever. And that's your laws.
Yep.
So you're sold on the Resplendent Cranes, aren't you, already?
I love this. I think this is great.
Where,
If I were to
I was
make
talking
Taiga, he would be a resplendent crane.
when I was talking with Celista about this earlier, Celista, and I think Mandrake told me too, that this book came across as a little bit boring to both of them. And
Yes.
I
Upon
see
first
why you think it's a little bit dry. Because a lot of this stuff you've already heard before from like a church setting or from a school or anything like that. These are all societal values. But as we said before, you need the Resplendent Cranes to keep everything together, because did anything we go over, could we find that in the Devil Tigers book?
Not really,
No.
because
Not
the Devil Tigers didn't really care, I don't think.
Is that going to be in the Thrashing Dragons book? No, because these Thrashing Dragons only live orgasm to orgasm, and that's the only thing they ever focus on. Same with the Bone Flowers, who are only ever focused on academic studies, but forsake everything else. And the Thousand Whispers, by design, cannot commit themselves to one thing. So the reason why we're all about the law, and only the law, but they're Resplendent Cranes, is to really drive the point home that this is the only group of Kuei-Jin that is sticking to laws. you can't really call the bone flowers lawful because it's more neutral than anything else. Because academic studies, is that necessarily lawful? Because it can also teach you how to be chaotic, it teaches you chaos theory, it teaches you how to be Machiavellian and get everything to go your way, and that's not necessarily lawful in concept. And the Thrashing Dragons, Devil Tigers, and Thousand Whispers, by their nature, are pure chaos. So this is why we have this massive ass emphasis on law with the Resplendent Cranes. You see this, right?
Yeah, because everybody else is just kind of out messing around with their own thing, not really having any sort of structure to their lives.
And if I may bring it up now, that connection I made before with these guys being very, very similar to the Ventru. Now, what differentiates them between themselves and the Sombra with the Resplendent Cranes?
The Sombra are, well, I mean, the Resplendent Cranes aren't full of shit, for one.
Because you know the playbook with the Sombra ultimately is control.
Yes.
The Sombra don't actually give a shit about the laws they make. They're only ever in this for themselves. They made the Sabbat because they were locked out of the Camarilla.
Yes.
They focused on clan politics because they wanted to control any sort of territory they could get their hands on.
And everybody that they embrace, they first break them and destroy their ego and make them miserable.
They focus on a constant codependent relationship to where the biggest frustration for every little Sombra is that you got in bed with the Zamichi, who by their nature are ungovernable, and you're now committed to the Sabbat with the Zamichi. But every other clan lord over them, break them, make them depend upon you. Not because you think you can be the leader in their life, because you want control over them. You feed off of dependence. Not codependence. You don't want anything from them besides their full submission. And their Resplendent Cranes don't ask for that. They honestly believe in what they're telling you. They believe in these laws. They believe that this is how you'll reach personal enlightenment and come to peace with yourself as a Kuei-Jin so you don't become an Akuma, which is the next problem that the Kuei-Jin are going to have to solve.
Hell, even if you're immortal, they want you following this.
Yes, which is why they get involved in shadow governments like Chinese politics, and they also formed the Triads and the Tongs over history. It's not in the book, but any sort of Chinese mafia, that was the Resplendent Cranes. You know the story of how the Triads formed to begin with, right?
No.
So the Triads during feudal China, I'm looking up, yet 1760 is when they formed with the Ming Restoration. They were a secret society that went around and made sure that everyone was following their laws. That eventually spiraled into organized crime when, of course, the Ming Emperor's reign would become weakened and challenged over time. And by the time it became the 17th century, it was controlled, organized, government-sanctioned crime. So basically, privateers is what they became. Until, of course, regime change after regime change happened. And by the time 1911 came around, there is some Chinese government control over triad families, specifically all the triads that no longer operate in China, because running a Chinese triad in mainland China is now impossible. You cannot do it. Kyle, you cannot have a savings account in China. Every cent you have is given to you by the Chinese government, and if you make more money than what the Chinese government deems you can individually have, that money just disappears. You don't get it, it just goes directly back to the government.
Yep. And the only way to get out of that is by being a part of the CCP yourself.
And you cannot run an organized crime family because of that.
Yep.
So
yes, Jack Ma. They only let him be wealthy.
Basically.
So most Chinese triads today operate in America and Central America. United States of America is what I meant by the first part. Not a single triad today actually operates in China.
Well, that's because, the CCP mafia has taken over all the rest of the organized crime.
And getting into a little bit conspiratorial talk, wouldn't it be in the CCP's interest to have control over these triads or in these foreign countries, controlling crime within those countries, tipping money and favor in the hands of the CCP?
Definitely.
It sure would be
Well,
nice to control Singapore.
How during the pandemic we had this Chinese outpost that was set up in Mexico, but everything was written in Chinese, all the signs were in Chinese, all the food was in Chinese. And when they had people that were crossing the border through that area that were not Mexicans, they were a certain other group of people
You know the
That could-
ones.
that could read Chinese. There's only one group of people that can read the Chinese. So that's what those Resplendent Cranes were doing. Where you do have Chinese crime families in, I think there's still some around in Hong Kong, there's some in Taiwan, and especially in Japan, because now you have a bunch of anti-Yakuza laws that make it impossible to have a Yakuza in Japan anymore. The Yakuza is just not a thing anymore in 2026. So that's where you come into play with this. But think about what I just said. The Resplendent Cranes are involved in the triads and the tongs. So when we say lawful and virtuous, as you said before, Mandrake, where these guys are not necessarily lawful good, they're neutral and lawful evil as well. The Resplendent Cranes are also the necessary evils in society.
Yes, they do mention that. They do mention two things. That they say oh, the superior man, as they call it, isn't necessarily out to save the people. He's out to save the world. But that way, the way that he goes about things can be skewed in a strange perspective. And right at the start of the book, they even say, "Oh, sometimes we'll just burn down a church with everyone inside of it."
If anyone goes against heaven, you have government-sanctioned authority by the shadow government to go ahead and kill them. You can do it. It's for the good of society. Don't feel bad about
Legalize
it.
nuclear bombs.
This
We are
song
the
was brought
soldiers-
to you by the Shadow Government.
We are the soldiers of the Resplendent Cranes, the world's most moral army.
They're so good.
Shoot the shields, shoot the shields. We're gonna shoot the shields.
Great.
And that video's still up too. I think it's got 2 million views. Like a Stream Genie Brothers, who went from being 3 lame studios with more effort in animation to an actual voiceover protest song. But
Funny how that works, isn't it?
But going back into it, what Mandrake just said with the superior man. Do you know the idea of the Übermensch? The man above all the men? The idea that Nietzsche made? Well, combine that with the propaganda of a Soviet Union poster. I'm trying to remember what these posters look like. I'm looking them up as I speak. Didn't USSR have a bunch of propaganda posters where they had ideas like the ideal citizen?
Oh yeah, like all the fucking time.
That is what the Resplendent Cranes are doing. That poster that's super saturated in bright red and white, where this is Borislav. He is great citizen. He fixed the tank. He built this building. He said niet to the alcohol. That's what the superior man is to the Resplendent Cranes. Is this, we'll call what it is, a propaganda figure of a superior citizen that the Resplendent Cranes demand and expect that you become. We will all be superior men in the Resplendent Cranes.
Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing, though?
It is a good thing. It's a good thing to be a superior man. It's a good thing to swallow to drink the Kool-Aid. Not like this man is in this poster.
Let me see this poster. Give me a sec. I love that fucking poster so much.
The government posters of the USSR have such a vibe and aesthetic to it.
They really do. Like, I think I remember talking about it in like an art class I was in a long time ago in college. And it was like Russian futurism Soviet futurism was the name of it. And it was like interesting because it was modernism, but with a little bit of like postmodernist color theory implemented into it. And so it was like an interesting blend of just like modernist propaganda, but with some like really experimental just artistic techniques, the likes of which that, people really haven't used prior to that.
And speaking of the lawful evil, let's go into detail about this. I usually never do this when we do an episode, but let's go into the named characters of this book for a minute. Let me go ahead. Let's go all the way to the back of the book for this. I want to bring these guys up. I want to bring up all of them for this episode. Because after all, we're kind of done talking about Resplendent Crane history because it's self-explanatory what it is. But we will begin with rising majestically to the western sun. There's her picture. Now, this is the easiest story to tell because you remember the Week of Nightmares? She was one of the 3 bodhisattvas who fought Ravnos.
Really?
And she lost, but no.
Well, I mean, that was a losing battle regardless.
But she was able to keep pace with him for a little while. Now, granted, she did have help. She did have another devil tiger and a thrashing dragon helping her. But those 3 together, fighting Ravnos, they came close. And then the Technocratic Union dropped the sun laser and blew them all up.
And the nukes.
So she's dead. But at the time, she was the superior citizen, and she was a woman, so it's empowering.
Yes. Very.
Ooh la la.
It's a very forward-thinking book, I must say.
You also generated a pretty cool-looking Resplendent Cranes with AI.
Where? You mean the one we're using for the thumbnail?
Yeah. Pretty good looking.
There's a small mistake in her design. Let's see if you can spot it. We bring up the next dude. One Shu Yikui. This man was a traveling salesman in feudal China who, through his childhood, saw the rise of the Manchu dynasty after the fall of the previous one. And he took it as a value saying anything can change at any time. And so when he was on the road and then 2 men just beat him to death while he was sleeping, well, that was certainly a sudden change. He woke up in hell in a world that was constantly changing. The hill that was right next to him would all of a sudden be a mile away. The air would turn into glass. The fire would turn to water. It was just absolute chaos all the time. So when he finally escaped hell, he decided everything is chaos and I need to change that. So he decided he was going to change it by, first of all, killing the people who killed him. And not just the people who killed him, but their families too. The women and children of his murderers.
Jesus.
Exactly that.
Just became a grim legionnaire for some reason.
And then he realized that he had a taste for murder. And so this guy is the boogeyman of the Resplendent Cranes, where if you are a misbehavior, he will approach you in your sleep and fucking kill you.
So he's just an assassin, really. He's the Adjustment Bureau.
Or more like a serial killer, in all honesty.
He is, yeah.
So be on your best behavior, or this old man will kill you. Look out.
Be a good Confucian, or else.
Next up is Ling Ku Mao, who has got a... He looks like a chud, and that's because he is a chud. We go over details with this guy. He was a Crimean officer, and he hated war, and he came back home, and he said, oh, my country sucks because we're all addicted to drugs and the opium wars, and my life sucks, so I'm just going to die. And so he wrote a suicide note, and he slit his wrist, and he died. And he woke up in hell. And then after he escaped hell, he said, well, that sucks. I said, I can't really die to escape this, so I'm going to be the change I want to be in the world. Pretty heartwarming story, right?
In a way. Was he going? But how does he fuck it up?
Through killing people.
Of course he does.
Yes, I'm getting a very strong murder vibe for these cranes.
Yeah, they tend to do that a lot, I'm noticing.
That's the Pee-wee's Playhouse word of the day is murder. In fact, speaking of murder, we now have the most murdery of them all, and an actual assassin. This is a bit of a jive-ass drawing. I was going through this for a few minutes with Adam, because he had to get the Bonefire book, and he said, why is everyone's neck so fucking long in these books? Not only does she have a fucking giraffe neck, but the boobs that she has, the clothing goes underneath and around them. It's like grapefruits. You can just reach up and you can just pluck off the boob. As for who she is, you don't get a backstory. You don't get to know who this is. But she's a hit woman in Los Angeles, killing Canaanites. So,
My precious, precious Canaanites.
so Kyle, does that mean when you run Red Cross Los Angeles, we're going to start seeing some Kuei-Jin?
It's entirely possible.
Who knows? We might have a Resplendent Crane with giant boobs and long raven hair come after and try to kill us.
Yes, her name
And that's
is
the last thing
Yamato.
you ever see.
The last thing, we're going to have a nice old Sopranos ending to the Chronicle.
You're all just going to be sitting in a restaurant after defeating Pentex and getting in a fight with a Kuei-Jin and pissing off the mages and getting the fucking Euthanatos to try and kill one of you. And then you're just sitting there in the restaurant and then the episode ends.
And then we just have 28 seconds of a black screen.
Yep. And that's it.
Are you of the opinion of that ending sucked or that ending was smart?
I think it was. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I haven't watched the whole Sopranos series, but like, given all, like, that's the most climactic season where it's a huge war, a whole bunch of people die, and even though there is peace, I feel like it's me personally, being a fucking snooty art son of a bitch. I think it's brilliant.
I saw what they were trying to do, but there was a better way they could have executed it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think like we're missing something. There's like just an element to this we're missing. But
Would you
getting
have
back
liked,
into
like, you know, maybe the silhouette
like a
of
sound
somebody
effect.
standing up in the background, or like,
well, you're not supposed to see it coming is the whole thing, but maybe like a sound effect to like really like get a point across that yes, this was happened. You didn't just lose the film reel before you put the episode up.
I don't
Let's
know.
confirm that.
That's a really hard way to end it, but I feel like it worked because we wouldn't be talking about it all these years later if it didn't make an impact.
No, hang on, man. Speaking of making an impact, you want to talk about shitty artwork in these books? The artwork in the Kuei-June books, like some of it's good, but a lot of it's just like kind of stupid. Take a look at this dude in Studio Notes.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the hell is going on here with that. I was like, what's wrong with this kid?
Where's his neck? Where's the neck?
He could be slouching. You never know.
A fucking like no neck chump. He's Eddie from Ed and Eddie.
That was a good show. That was a good show.
I do
So
like
incredibly
Eddie.
nondescript.
Yeah, and then, you know, later on you get, or in like the full page ones, you get some just absolutely wicked looking fucking paintings. The graphic novel at the very start of the book was honestly really fucking sick.
You like how we had a little wuxia comic?
Yeah, it was cool. Even though it was like kind of hard to read at times, I still thought it was pretty neat.
I think the only thing that gives you kind of a clue about this guy is that he's wearing a single earring.
He's is on the left or right ear?
Right here.
Indeed.
Right, so right ear Buccaneer.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gay. What a shame.
Do you like people with no necks or something?
No, with no necks. Not one day. No neck chomp. At least there'll be
Lord.
some solidarity. So going into this, a lot of this stuff is just like repeats in the book. So it's really like what we were saying before. Some of this stuff being dry, like teaching through learning. Okay, but that's kind of like self-explanatory. We've already mentioned the great wheel process. Uncertainty, possibility, and responsibility. We kind of mentioned this already with the previous segments where you want to take up responsibility and create heaven as a resplendent maker, a resplendent crane. The state of the world is in. They think the state of the world fucking sucks, and they're trying to stop the sixth age from becoming a thing. And when the sixth age does happen, it's going to be an ice age where nothing will ever fucking happen until the seventh age happens. So there is life after death, but they don't want that to happen.
So they're saying that like the sixth age would be a Weaver Ascending ending.
Oh, well, no, they're not even. They're actually doing more to help the Weaver than the Worm.
Yeah, that's the
face.
crazy thing about it, is that like they're Weaverish, but they're also like saying the sixth age should never. So wait a minute, is the sixth age Gehenna then?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so it is very Weaverish.
Which is why these guys are doing the Great Leap Outward, which, to explain what that is, the invasion of America to kill the Camarilla. That's their next plan.
Yeah, good luck with that.
The Sabbat issue will solve itself. They've only gone to civil war with each other 3 times by this point. Well, let's say that a 4th one's not on the horizon. The Anarchs will never be shit, so we just gotta get rid of the Camarilla. Because he realized that the entire thing is a damn Ponzi scheme set by Hardstep the Ogre.
It is.
biggest-
And you know what? He did a damn good job setting that up.
The biggest douche who ever lived.
Would a Kuei-Jin Wu be a threat to an antediluvian?
Yes, but you would need multiple of them. 'Cause we had some guys who are keeping pace with Ravnos, but it depends on what antediluvian it is. If you're talking about Augustus Giovanni, well, certainly a single bodhisattva could handle that. If you're talking about who can I use an example? Enoya, Arakel, maybe, and it's a stretch, but Hakim, a few bodhisattvas could handle those. If we're talking about Malkav, well, that guy cheats.
Yep.
But Set, Zimichi, and Lasabra, no, that cannot happen. That's a fight you will always lose.
I mean, it's not like Lasambra would do anything about it anyway. He doesn't need to.
Because after all, Lasabra's only issue is like a motivation. And of course,
He's the anti-Virgil. He's the anti-Virgil.
right, supremacy of virtue could complement. Okay, we went over the virtues before. Some of this information just kind of repeats. It feels like we're just padding at this rate. Okay, scroll. All right, we're finally at the relationships. Let's go ahead and let's do that.
So, relationships. More so in this book, they go over the other dharmas more than they go over anything else.
And they're strongly opinionated.
Very, very. Being the ones who are like, oh, we've written all the laws and all the rules, and all these ruffians don't follow the rules, so we're going to kill them.
Yes.
Starting from the top, of course, we have the Devil Tigers. The Cranes pride themselves on strict control of the PO. The Devil Tigers, however, have no such reservations about it. They're reserved. The Devil Tigers are insane. The Cranes make amends for transgressions. The Tigers revel in them. If a Crane wishes to speak to a Tiger, they need to very carefully observe them first. They are radically different from anyone who is a Shining Ice Guardian, and they seem to be throwing themselves into corruption rather than try to solve it. They have the will to. They would turn the Great Wheel just to make sure that there's more pain and chaos in their lives. But they don't just revel in the PO. They learn to train it. They try to harness its power in order to make themselves more powerful. They are basically just completely wicked. As the book recalls, they are a scythe to call the unworthy in our quest for purity and righteousness. So they have their uses as enforcers for the Dharma, really, but that's all they're really good for, it seems.
Yeah.
They do not have a high opinion of the Devil Tigers.
Well, I don't think anyone really does have a high opinion of the Devil Tigers.
No, they're kind of like the Grim Legion in that regard.
Just like a bunch of assholes who just go around and kick your shit in. That's all they are.
Basically.
Would the Simichi have a high opinion of the Devil Tigers?
No, because the Zimichi have a high opinion of nobody but themselves.
Yes.
And when I say themselves, I mean every individual Zimichi, not the Zimichi clan as a whole.
Basically.
Where
yes.
Another thing to note with the Devil Tigers, there is, as we said before, in San Francisco by Night, that is led by Devil Tigers. You notice that. But the Resplendent Crane in that book is here, namely, to keep those Devil Tigers in check. They recognize that the Devil Tiger is stronger than them. They're not going to win that fight, but they're just there to be the secretary that's actually getting stuff done. You're the person in the office, setting up the paperwork, making sure that this Devil Tiger isn't wasting his time and is actually going to set up a good war effort to set up the open-air prison that is San Francisco.
Basically, it's going to work great.
Yes. So all I was saying about that is that there are some Devil Tigers that can lead, but know that there is a Resplendent Crane involved.
Yeah, because somebody has to take care of business.
Yes.
Okay, the Bone Flowers. They're calm, they're cool, they're collected, but also very detached. They should, under ideal circumstances, have common ground with the Resplendent Cranes. They share the same feelings towards family, necessity for control, same determination to hold composure under all conditions, but they are very, very different. The bone flowers seem to separate themselves from the living world. They focus more on the spiritual aspects of the Dharma rather than actually, changing and maintaining order. They're very focused on detachment and even on just detachment from the rest of the world and even the Kuei-Jin. They are scholars, they're diplomats, they are record keepers, but the only problem is that they don't really do anything other than that. They are not fighters, they are not lawmakers, they're not enforcers. Their thing is to hold on to knowledge. And it's great to have that knowledge, but, with knowledge without action is meaningless.
Well, after all, you have all this knowledge. Do you have anybody to actually share it with?
Exactly. Well, it's not
And
even just sharing it. It's acting on knowledge that is given, or knowing what knowledge to apply when. Having knowledge and using knowledge are two different things.
That's a big issue with the bonefires too, because how often do these guys live in isolation?
All of the time.
Because we have a boneflower in Mandrake's Red Cross Australia game that he's running.
Yes.
That I asked to be in the game. But Talazani Izu, and that man, as I was going over with Mandrake, he operates by himself. Of course he has Kuei-Jin connections, but every time we've met him, he's been by himself. Where that tends to be a really fucking stupid idea as a Kuei-Jin to go meet werewolves by yourself. But thankfully, that context background is coming in clutch.
Yeah, but he knew you. He knew you, so he was like, he knew you were good for it.
Yeah, and that tends to be the thing too, because the boneflowers don't really need anybody in a pack, because very much like the Giovanni, they can get ghosts to do their bidding. But how useful are your ghosts going to be in the face of, say, another boneflower or an actual clan Giovanni who can just take your ghost away from you?
Clan Giovanni, a Euthanatoi, a Dream Speaker, anybody
Nefandi.
like that. Yeah, especially Nefandi. You get boneflower against a Nefandi. I'm on the Nefandi.
That angle, the Nefandi can felt just about everybody in the World of Darkness.
Well, yeah,
How
because
do you
it's
feel
just
about a
crude magic
story
and they
that,
don't incur paradox.
Story about what?
Or another Marauders.
A story about someone stole my ghost and I want it back.
That's kind of funny, actually. I
that
like that.
That ghost meant more to me dead than you did alive.
That's actually kind of funny.
Who's next? Who we got some to say about next?
Next, we have the Centipedes, the Path of a Thousand Whispers. So the Resplendent
weirdos.
So the Resplendent Cranes teach balance that the Centipedes would appreciate, balancing strength and weakness and judging the honor of a deed or belief, balancing yin and yang, mastering the hun, and teaching the Pa'o to submit. But the Centipedes don't really search for balance. They swing from one extreme to the other. They can't decide if they are strong, if they're weak, if they have integrity, or they're evil. They don't know if they want to be mad or sane. And they try everything in order to try and figure out where exactly is enlightenment. They seem to miss the point of the Dharma entirely, believing that enlightenment has to be at some extreme between rage and bliss, and therefore are traveling nowhere at the speed of thought. Furthermore, it's that if, as the book says, they want to revel in mortal ways, continue to live their lives and wear masks, but pay no attention to the fact that when the great wheel turns, there will be no more humans to emulate. And that's the thing, is like they don't really concern themselves much with, the rest of the Kuei-Jin and, the path to try and stop the great wheel from turning from the 5th to the 6th stage. Instead, looking to try and save themselves. They're kind of like Kuei-Jin Toreador in a way. They're pretty, but they don't really do anything.
I'm trying to think the greater machinations of the Thousand Whispers. I think we're going to have to read their book for us to really see what the goal of that Dharma is supposed to be.
They're either playing dress up as humans, as vampires, or they're actually playing some 40 chess we don't know about.
Because the key word with the Thousand Whispers is change. Just change for the sake of change.
So they're more Setites than Toreadors.
They have more in common with the churches of Tzeentch and 40k than anything else.
So they're more wild aligned, if anything.
Yeah, if there's something going on, change. If your own identity, change it. Change your name, like file the serial numbers off of your true name. Change what you look like down to what species you are, kind of change.
I changed my vodka for the whiskey. That's why I got this voice.
The thing that I think people don't like them much, besides the fact that they are so prone to change, is that I think they also kill anyone that knows them whenever they make their change. I may be wrong with that, but I think they kill a lot of people.
It's a group of people that what?
Yeah, they don't like to have fetters, and then when they go onto this Dharma, they also just kill everybody that ever knew them.
It's a group of people that by design have no relationships. They have no contacts, they have no allies, they have no mentors. They just exist, so to speak.
Yes, indeed. They're just kind of they're kind of pushing along, I guess.
And that's the point.
Yep, but that's the thing, is that like because of that, they don't really influence anything except themselves and maybe some people around them.
And tend to be some of the strongest beings ever, because as we went over with the San Francisco book, there was a Thousand Whispers character who just does not die.
Yes.
And they don't always emulate humans either. Like I suppose like the frog that turned into a butterfly could be a Thousand Whispers.
That could be the thing too. Maybe Jue got the whole thing wrong, and it would be the Thousand Whispers who will save the world.
Again, we won't, like you said, we won't know until we take a look and see if it's a farce or if they're playing some 4D chess.
It was a genius idea at play.
Yep.
Who's
Thrashing Dragons.
Thrashing Dragons? Yeah, Thrashing Dragons.
Yes. So, as it says, when chi flows down from heaven, it generates yang. When it reaches its limit, it becomes tranquil. The chi, when it becomes tranquil, generates yin. When it's reached its limit, it becomes yang again. That's, the principle of heaven and earth. An equal balance of yin and yang leads to perfection of the hun. The Thrashing Dragons does not give a shit. They're interested in movement and action and yang all the way. They do not care about balance. If there's a job that needs to be done, get it done. There's no time to dwell on it, no time to think about it. And, the fucking Resplendent Cranes think that this is absolutely ridiculous. As the book says, the Thrashing Dragons only care about what Yang provides them and how they may act on impulses. We find this unacceptable. We cannot abide wickedness and folly. The universe requires a balance of yin and yangs, and the dragons are just a force of yang. That is it. They do not do anything but do, to the detriment of literally everybody else.
With the Thrashing Dragons, Mandrake, you have flipped through the book of the Thrashing Dragons?
Not yet, unfortunately.
Here's the thing. There were a lot of sexy pictures in the Thrashing Dragons book.
See.
Is that because the Thrashing Dragons? The one thing that anyone has played Kindred of the East will tell you about the Thrashing Dragons? That word is going to be sex. That's what they focus on.
They have sex.
The Thrashing
Which
Dragons,
I guess is because it's the thing that makes you feel the most alive.
They're just living orgasm to orgasm, high to high, fight to fight. Anything that makes you feel good, they do.
Yeah, they're the Dampier Factory. They're the fucking Dampier Factory.
Exactly that. They fuck a lot. They fuck a lot of people, and they can get them pregnant.
It's just fucking just. Oh.
They decided that it's an entire group of people that have decided they're going to do what Elon Musk is doing. I will impregnate one woman of every race on the planet and get my genes spread amongst everywhere.
Do we need more autism, really?
Yes.
Which, I mean, it's worth noting that this is true of all Kuei-Jin. Kuei-Jin, unlike K-Knights, are just fertile.
Well, they're people that just had their souls put back into them after going to hell.
He's just going to take it out, dunk it in hell water, and then put it right back into them.
Basically, he was like, and just a little, and just shove it right back in there.
As simple as that.
Alrighty.
And
Rising Phoenix. First of the heretical four dharmas. So it's built on shoddy philosophy. Mistakes made in the previous life before taking the second breath are tools for learning. The Phoenixes, what they do is they focus more on appearing to one's mortal family. Basically, they just bury themselves in the past. They learn nothing from their journey from hell.
they're just going to
so,
stick their head up their ass and go, no.
Yep, they're like, okay, I was in hell, that sucked, but my family's still here. I can go back and be with my family again. And, the Resplendent Cranes just think that this is absolutely ridiculous.
You're breaching the masquerade doing this.
I don't think the Resplendent Cranes give a shit. Or not the Resplendent Cranes, the Rising Phoenix.
They look human enough.
Because the whole thing with the Rising Phoenix is that they believe the second breath only exists for you to make restitution with the mistakes you made in your life. When, no, there's a heaven project that needs to be built, says the Resplendent Cranes. You're wasting your time trying to fix what's already fucked up.
Well, I feel like in a way they kind of see what's going on. Well, like earlier we said that the whole point was to fix transgressions if they were made and make amends.
But better saying with this one, it's too late. It's too late. You fucked up and you're human. You're Kuei-Jin now. Focus on your Kuei-Jin mistakes, not your human ones.
Of course, this is a very specific perspective, from the cranes looking into them.
Yes.
They're the best at moving on. That's pretty good for them.
It's true, yes.
Which is where the term Rising Phoenix comes from.
Yes. Next, we have Tempest of the Inward Focus. The Cranes believe that laws must apply to all people if they are to follow them. The Tempest tries to follow all of them and none of them. They ignore every instruction laid out by the laws that were published by the Cranes, and they just kind of run off and do their own thing, which really leads them to absolutely nowhere. If they are trying to go towards their quest for enlightenment, they are just doomed to fail, really. Doesn't really go into a whole lot of, detail on that now, does it?
Well, it's because the entire Dharma by inception is just a bad idea.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
I think these are the guys that just pursue balance at all costs to the point that they just become monks. I think it's these guys.
And eventually it just ends with you just
Super
sitting around with you just sit around with the top of your ass all day and you go nowhere.
Yep. And
Which maybe that's the most you can do. Maybe that's just how people should be doing things. But
You watched the SpongeBob episode and you said, we gotta do what the magic conch tells us to do. Nothing.
Can I have something to eat?
No. That episode really did exemplify what it's like to live in North Korea.
Basically, yeah. Okay, the face of the gods. They have completely forgotten literally all of Kuei-Jin or Wan Kuei history. They basically dally around with humans pretending to be gods, and there is no enlightenment to be found in that.
They just believe that they're gods, which is just factually wrong.
Yeah, it's like, I have died and returned to the mortal realm, therefore I am God. Praise me and worship me.
Turns out, no, you're just stupid. You're just delusional. What you believe can be proven wrong.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Godlings are experts at forming god bodies, and they believe in building up both the celestial and the demon inside of them.
That is true, yes.
At least with the Verbena, being wrong gives them powers. That's not the case at all with this Dharma.
No, they're just dumb.
You're dumber than the Verbena.
Yep.
I mean, it gives them powers. God bodies are pretty strong, and they get pretty much all of them.
So
They ain't strong enough to fight off a Ravnos.
no, they are not. Low they
You
try.
say that when we get to the book about like the heretical dharmas, you're gonna read their entry and you're just gonna be like, man, this is a revelation.
Yep.
It's a revelation as to how all the fucking bullshit god-modding powers you can do with these characters.
Yes. And then Spirit of the Living Earth. It puts a lot of emphasis on moral behavior, ceremony, rituals, and teachings. They live within their means. They take decent action. Some of them are even, highly respected by the Cranes for its followers' appreciation of the flow of chi. They don't hold the same beliefs as turning back the Great Wheel. The Cranes actually find them to be close comrades that, in their desire to live full second lives full of integrity and honor. However, their adherence to a monastic life makes them even more remote and moralistic than even the most austere of the Shining Ice Guardians. They should. The Cranes believe that they're sort of, a bit too isolated, similar to the Bone Flowers, and spending too much time altogether learning from spirits can lead to some, issues when it comes to interacting with the rest of Kuei-Jin society. They like the Spirit of the Living Earth. They just wish that they would stop isolating themselves and talking to spirits all the time.
You're not wrong, but you're not right either.
Exactly.
It's the whole thing. It's like the infamous video of the teacher that was distinguishing. There's different ways to say the N word. There's the version that ends with the A, and then there's the one that ends with the ER.
Yeah.
he's not wrong, but he's not right either.
He's out of line, but he's right.
It's interesting that they like this heretical Dharma more than they like some of their own
Yeah, it's
orthodox
kind of funny,
dharmas.
isn't it?
And they're the ones who decide who's orthodox.
Yeah, because they're saying like we want to accept you in the fold, but you just don't do anything. And that's the issue.
Basically. Next is a section on humanity, which is interesting because there's like 3 subsections to this based off of what different Kuei-Jin think of humanity as a whole.
Yes.
And there are a couple of different like characters and a couple of different excerpts. The first is humanity as a disease. From the testimony of accused Akuma Izanagi Ishiro. He believes that, yeah, sure, we were all human once, but what of it? I'm something else now. We don't serve humanity. We serve the world itself, everything under heaven. And so basically what they say that, I actually kind of read this verbatim just because it's interesting. You must know, my earnest inquisitor, the term triage. A doctor faced with more injuries than he can treat must set priorities. Curing where he can, removing what cannot be saved. This is our duty as well. So they don't necessarily hate humanity, but they just feel as if that humanity left unchecked can grow into its own sort of cancerous entity.
They're not wrong about that.
Not entirely, no. And, we see that in real time where you have just evil fuckers running the world and doing just horrendous things to people.
You'd rather have a dead, dying world than a world in which you do not rule. Exactly.
And then you have humanity as unruly subjects, which is a memorial by I believe it's Chishiro, if I'm saying that right.
You are.
Of the New Promise Mandarinate to the Blood Court. So they believe that this one's interesting. This is written more of like an out-and-out rejection of the idea of globalism, which I think is kind of interesting.
Globalism.
Yeah, exactly. They believe that, trying to expand the spread of their influence can only cause further problems, and that they have actively worked with governments and, people of influence to try and break down international relations in order to more so compartmentalize their rulership into a single, entity that can be a bit more self-sufficient. They believe that trying to, overall spread outside of where they were will only lead to people just being spread too thin and eventually, creating further splinters in the Kuei-Jin when it's supposed to be a very tight-knit unit, all following the same dharmic path. The further out that they go, the harder it is for them all to pull in one direction.
Well, once again, I'm not necessarily wrong in saying that.
No, they're not. And that's the part that I thought was interesting, was that, and the fact that they outlined that they were directly working with, people of renown and rapport to basically undo globalism in order to help, better, I said compartmentalize already, but that is the word for it.
With globalism going on right now, how much of it is Western influence?
Well, I mean, not a whole lot of it. Well, I mean, a lot of it is digitally, but, when it comes to the movement of people, it's been a lot of people from, nations that have, been destitute and destroyed, but also not leaving behind the baggage that comes with that and bringing, just morally unsound at best and evil at worst traditions with them and inflicting that upon the people that just want to go about their lives, really.
Oh, I mean, like the people who are trying to actually make it a thing, like the World Economic Forum.
Well, no, that's not globalism. That's like a greater means of control by an oligarchy of Bond villains.
Well, isn't that what that is? Ultimately, you want the entire world following one set of culture and law so you can control that.
The way I see it, there's a few different parts of things that are globalist. I mean, there's like you said, it's the cultural level, but there's also the currency level, like controlling world currency, making a one world currency, and controlling the way that that trade works in a global economy. Like the World Economic Forum kind of wanted it to be that China would be this industrial center for the world where everything can just be made in China, and China will just accept that, and they didn't accept it.
They just want these guys to be the workhorse while they profited off of everything.
Pretty much.
And they said in retaliation we're going to make a currency based off of gold,
which you should do anyway.
We can't fault them on that. It's a good idea.
I mean,
it just makes sense.
It's a rock. You're going to have a finite amount of it, and it's going to be however much gold is.
I don't want to say China W, but it's I gotta give credit where it's due.
Hey, look, like I said, I don't like Aaron Hansen as a dude, but I can't deny bro's got sauce.
It can be funny when he wants to be.
Exactly. And there's this one, I didn't read this one as closely, which I feel like was a bit of a mistake, was Humanity Dwarfed by All Under Heaven. A letter to Ling Yi, former Deputy Minister for Evaluation of Foreign Oracles, from an unknown source. And so this one here, let's see. They believe, so whoever has written to Ling Yi says that they've become overly attached to humanity at the expense of the other 999 things that comprise All Under Heaven. He doesn't endorse this anti-humanity sentiment that some other of the, Resplendent Cranes have been preaching, such we read earlier. As basically what he's saying here is that, like,
the gear's turning.
The gear's turning. I'm doing the best I can here. They just say that, beyond the mirror world, there's really nothing that they owe to humanity. They believe that the people of the Dharma acts far too much like judges for humanity when they should just kind of leave humanity alone to do whatever the fuck they want and kind of destroy themselves, really. It's sort of a nihilistic view on how the Kuei-Jin should treat humanity overall.
And they're rationalizing it to themselves, saying, we've got to step in, we've got to do this, because if we don't do it, you're going to fall apart.
Basically, yeah.
You need us to be the Chinese vampire big brother controlling society from the shadows.
And, that is
you can't
what
do
a
it on
lot of
your
it was
own.
talking about in the books, so it's not entirely unfounded that this is what they believe.
Well, I guess there is just a little bit of a summer in them after all.
Just a little bit, They also briefly bring up the Beast Courts, but again, it's very, very brief. They have a sort of tense but peaceable relationships with the shape-shifting races of the Middle Kingdom. They know individuals within the groups that intrude too deeply are likely to just be killed, and they just accept that. When conflict occurs, diplomats on both sides sort of try to work out terms, redress, and withdraw. The last thing they want to do is try and spark a big damn war with a whole bunch of the werewolves because, Kuei-Jin, powerful though they are, the werewolves know exactly what they are. So
soft confirmation that it is the Devil Tiger that is fucking with the Stargazers the most.
yes. So basically,
Well,
the Cranes are trying to keep it together between them and the Beast Courts, the Henge Yokai.
40% of Kuei-Jin cause 100% of all problems.
Yes, and they're all devil tigers. It's a problem caused by a certain group of people. You know the ones.
The ones that left hell, but hell came with them.
Yep.
The ones that we only keep around because of how terrible they are. That remind us how terrible they are.
You don't have the stones to tell these guys off because you know they will kill you.
Yeah, I think the Cranes need better guns.
Is that the Cranes need to stone up at this rate?
Yep. You can pass as many laws as you like, but if nobody's willing to follow them, then is it really a law?
Yeah. So, do you have anything else to say about anyone else or not?
They don't say anything about wraiths, about mages. There's nothing about Canaanites. There's nothing else really.
Because they got other shit to deal with.
Basically, yeah, their main goal is the Great Leap Outward, which is aptly named after Mao Zedong basically starving his country to death because he's retarded.
But take a look at what we got. We now have subsections. We have factions. Solsta and Mandrake, you read this part, didn't you?
Yes. No. It was
No.
only the heretical factions that really stuck out to me.
Where we go over orthodoxy and heterodoxy. Nope. What we've been talking about.
What page does this start on?
It begins on page 31. So how this begins. You know how we have multiple sects of Protestant Christianity? Well, we have a few sects of Resplendent Cranes as well. These are a few of these denominations. The first one is the Eight Lotuses Blooming, who believe that you can turn back time. You can do it all over again. We can go in reverse from a sixth age. Instead, we can go back to a fourth age. But might be thinking how we're going to do that. Well, we're going to make heaven so good, we're going to become such a righteous, moral, everlasting society that will be around for thousands of years, that we will get time itself to turn back and recreate the time of the fourth age. I don't think that is possible, but they believe it is.
That's good to believe yourself.
It makes you essentially, if you believe it, it'll happen. So, if you could turn back time, if you could find a way, you take back all the words that hurt you, is what you would say. Next up,
Do you have any thoughts how people could achieve any objectives that would give them any ground along those motivations?
Well, for me, I don't think this is possible. I don't think this faction has leg to stand on. I don't think it's going to work.
It doesn't sound like it.
And after all, canonically, it doesn't work. Because the sixth age does come, and it happens whether you like it or not. I ultimately think these guys are just lying to themselves and just in denial of the world around them. But next up is The Empty Throne. Started by a guy called Galliard, who decided that he was going to name his entire faction after a poem. The Empty Throne is ultimately a group of people that realized the same well, they came to the same conclusion as to why God left the fruit of the tree of the fruit of why he left the tree of the fruit of knowledge in the Garden of Eden. That's what the sense I wanted to say.
Yes.
They realized, if I just do the right thing because you tell me, and that's all I do, then am I really doing the right thing? Do I really understand that the right thing is the right thing? Or is it just the thing? And does the right thing mean anything at all if I have no opportunity or option to do anything else? So this is what these guys believe. They think that the Resplendent Cranes have a severe risk of becoming tyrants who only ever tell you to be virtuous for their own interest, which would be the logical conclusion of this group that would lead them into becoming synonymous with the Losambra. So they decide, we're going to focus on virtue more than law. We're going to be, for, once again, a rare thing to find in the World of Darkness games, a faction of genuinely good people that do the righteous and virtuous thing because it is righteous and virtuous, and that is how we should be living. For we want to protect you from the forces of evil. We believe in doing the right thing so strongly we will be the de facto hero faction of the Kuei-Jin. That's this group. And I really have nothing bad to say about these guys, and more power to them.
Yeah, that sounds pretty solid to me.
And these guys have now jacked up their Akuma hunting policies ever since they fell on hard times from 1870 to 1920. And now they're out hunting for Kuei-Jin that have become demons to kill them to make sure they don't cause any more damage to anyone else.
Sounds good to
And
me.
they
Good
name
guys,
it. What?
I was just gonna say good guys, but they still kill.
And they namely operate in Shanghai. Is where you find these guys. Next up is the Tu Li Road. Li in this case meaning mile. These are your cleaners. These are the men in black who go in, sweep up the dead bodies, get rid of any and all existence that the Kuei-Jin exist. Their entire job is to maintain the masquerade. And if somebody saw the masquerade get breached, well, what's the word of the day for this episode?
Murder.
Yeah.
No witnesses, no mercy, no evidence. Leave the place looking better than the way you found it. And then disappear without any credit going to your name, but you know what you did, and you know if you didn't do it, everything would fall apart. So, yeah, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it, right?
Yep. It ain't much, but
Yep.
it's honest work.
So do you think this is the internal affairs in a way?
It is. It's exactly that. It is. Because after all, if a conspiracy happens within your court, you also want to call in these guys to clean it. Say, if a power struggle happens, you want to make sure that these guys come in with a smear campaign. Say, oh, we had who over there, and he was a good Resplendent Crane, but we got a regime change. Let's just go ahead, get rid of him, and then plant all the stuff. This person, we're going to say that he did cocaine and he had CP on his computer. And then you dip.
It's like, okay, he was evil. Good, bye.
Delta Force, basically.
Yep. We need to put the flash drive on his computer, do all the terrible shit you want to make it look incriminating as hell.
After all, very trad-like with this group. Very much like the trads. And next up, the Yellow Moon, a.k.a. Crane School. You want to go to an academy to learn how to be a crane? Well, this is where you go for it. Behold. And do I really have anything to add to this group? No, it really is just Kuei-Jin School. So,
I mean, yeah, sure.
I'm glad there's someone out there teaching
Still
this
better teachers than the fucking Garo Nation.
Yeah, because that's still the biggest shocker to me with the Devil Tigers, that they actually do train their staff. And meanwhile, the Fondi and the fucking Werewolf Nation don't.
Yep. Funny that, isn't it?
And then we have two heretical groups. You don't want to be with these guys. The first one is called the Fellowship of the Travelers of Great Earth, that formed after Japan got nuked. These are 6 people doing this. They believe that they need to find a messiah. There's going to be a big Kuei-Jin Bodhisattva who's going to prevent the Sixth Age from turning. And so they've spread out across all of Asia, looking for the Kuei-Jin, who will be the guy that they call the true emperor, that they'll put on the throne and have him be in control of all of Kuei-Jin society. And they will enforce that through power that they do not have because they're heretical and nobody takes them seriously. A group of 6 idiots that have all told themselves a lie to the point that they believe it's the truth and are now running their entire existence into the ground.
Yep, sounds
Yeah,
suitably
you guys
destructive.
are idiots.
Yep, sounds dumb as shit.
And then next up is the Liberators of the Wheel. I'm going to read this out. This was founded in India, by the way. No, sorry, not India, Nepal. A guy was asking himself some questions. That guy's name was Pradeep Gangol. How does the wheel turn? The wheel turns down in perpetual darkness. Why does the wheel turn down in perpetual darkness? The wheel turns down in perpetual darkness because the world is too heavy. Well, why is the world too heavy? The world is too heavy because it's too large. Well, why is it too large? The world is too large because the powers of destruction subverted creation. Well, how did the powers subvert creation? The powers of destruction subverted creation by creating the land and sea beyond the Middle Kingdom. Well, why did the powers of destruction create the land and the sea beyond the Middle Kingdom? The powers of destruction created the land and sea beyond the Middle Kingdom because they knew that the principle of life would fill them once they had been made. Well, why is that bad? It is bad for land and sea to be beyond the Middle Kingdom to be filled with life because there could be no truth beyond the Middle Kingdom. Well, why can't there be no truth beyond the Middle Kingdom? Because it was the only land and sea of the First Age, and it's the only land and sea that is at the will of the Argus personage. So what must be done to lighten the world? We must lighten the world by removing all life from the land and sea beyond the Middle Kingdom.
That sounds like
genocide cult.
That sounds like Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
Overfish the sea, pollute all the rivers, dig up
we
all
will
the resources, kill people in industrial accidents.
You say as a
Fishing trawler, all of the fish.
As a resplendent crane, we are going to destroy the world because it isn't heaven.
Well, that sounds dumb.
And that's the evil plan. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's a terrible fucking plan.
Well, I'll give it this. It's not derivative of any villain I know of.
That is true.
We got some original in this book at long last. Well, and of course we have a few militant factions as well, where we have starting on page. What page is this? It's at the top of the page. Page 41. We have 5 harmonious avenging thunders. So basically, 5 different war parties. We begin with the American Development Network. We'll take a wild guess as to what that is.
That's where they develop networks of Kuei-Jin in America.
By building Chinatowns.
And they're doing a great job because they got some fucking banger food.
They're going to rig immigration, get a bunch of Chinese immigrants into a city, build a Chinatown, and then use that as a little pocket where hell in the Christian sense no longer exists in that specific spot in the city. Instead, it becomes a spawning ground for Kuei-Jin that the Resplendent Cranes will maintain and use as a spawning pool to create more Kuei-Jin.
I mean, in fairness, when's the last time you heard of a shooting in Chinatown?
Next up is the... And even though it's 5 Harmonious Thunders, there's only one other one that gets mentioned.
Yeah.
So it's the 2 Harmonious Thunders. The other ones are called the Sisters of the Cooling Hearth. A group of all women. Black Fury adjacent.
Nice.
And they are messages. They're in permanent yin imbalance. They double dip. You are both Resplendent Crane and Boneflower at the same time. And you master both disciplines.
Interesting.
So, witchy women. And
she knows
of course,
how high she flies.
That's pretty cool.
And why do they exist? They're ghost hunters. They realize we're doing a lot of investing in Earth to create heaven. Well, what about the Shadowlands? We're not doing anything about the Shadowlands, are we? So these women take upon themselves to make sure that no pesky ghost gets through the veil and ruins the Heaven Project. Where I guess these guys really did think of everything when they made this book, didn't they?
Yeah, it seems that way. I do like this.
And-
This does seem a very complete book.
And for the Umbra, well, I guess that's someone else's problem.
Yep. Hell, we're not going in
Well,
there.
We'll have the Devil Tigers and Thrashing Dragons figure that shit out on their own and hope they do their job right.
Hope being the operative part of that.
Yeah, we know they're going to fuck it up. What the Devil Tigers can't help themselves, and the minute the spirits find out that you just have to suck the dick of the Thrashing Dragon to get them on your side, well, everything will fall apart.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Let's talk about powers.
Yay.
When it comes to powers, what is the favorite power of a Resplendent Crane?
Shaolin shadow boxing and the Wu-Tang
Bureaucracy.
sword style.
Verbal combat then.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't help myself.
It is the way the blood shintai is the preferred form of combat of the Resplendent Crane. You know, Kyle, you're familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender, aren't you?
Not particularly, believe it or not. I actually didn't watch the show growing up.
Well, do you at least know the episode about the bloodbending?
No, that's news to me.
As it turns out, with waterbending, a few characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender realized, isn't blood filled with water? And can't we control that? And a few of them decided, yes, we can. And so, as it turns out, what started off as the most unimpressive bending in the series became very fucking deadly out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, you literally rip the blood out of somebody's body.
Along with being able to puppeteer their bodies, get them to reach up and snap their own necks, turn somebody into your zombie where they commit a murder on your behalf because you're puppeteering them.
Use someone else's bending through their body.
Suck the blood out of somebody and put it in your own veins, giving yourself a transfusion. That. But basically, everything I just described, that's something that you can do with blood shintai.
Wait a minute, isn't that what Kiedis does?
Oh, yeah, and the thaumaturgy path of blood. So, you're suddenly beginning to realize just how deadly these guys can be as assassins, right?
Yes, very.
Starting off with the first power, Permeate. No roll is needed, but you do need to spend a chi point. Either diffusion or concentration to reduce soak rolls to difficulty 5. You basically spend a point of ki, and all of your soak rolls for a combat encounter will be made at difficulty 5.
Okay, that's pretty solid.
Along with it, too, you can use it to compress your body and make it liquid. And you can shove yourself through any size hole the size of a quarter.
Also cool.
And also by selectively swelling or shriveling the face or body, you can partially disguise yourself to make yourself look fat or anorexic.
It's a very useful power, I gotta say.
That's a lot of stuff you get at first level. That's a lot of stuff.
Very much so.
Next up is where we start getting fucking crazy, Blood of Timmy. To use this power at second level, the vampire must roll touch his victim and spend a key point and roll perception and medicine, which you will always have at character conversion. The effects of the power depend on where the victim is struck. If you strike the victim's body, you will cause the circulatory system to go haywire. Symptoms involve nausea, dizziness, and blood rushing to your victim's head, stomach, and inner ear. As the victim scores a success on a stamina, scores more successes on a stamina roll, difficulty 7, than you did on your perception medicine roll, then the victim is overwhelmed by nausea for 1 turn per success, where you're just stuck in place, puking on yourself, and the difficulty of all of your rolls is raised by 1 until that puking ends. If you botch your stamina roll, she's completely overwhelmed with nausea for the rest of the scene.
Jesus.
You take a guy out of combat with this power.
That's kind of fucking scary.
But we're not even done. If the vampire touches a limb, he may choose to numb the limb or induce spasm. Numbing a limb causes a pins and needle effect that will cause a -2 to all dice rolls involving that limb. Inducing spasms will cause the victim to make a straight dexterity roll, no skill, difficulty 7. If the roll fails, the limb is contorted by muscle cramps, rendering it useless for 1 turn per success. And if it is a botch, it will deal a health level of damage. It did not specify which it is. I'm pretty sure it's lethal. Alternatively, if a vampire may use this power for healing, you can do so. Where basically it becomes Mother's Touch.
That's
So
pretty
once
neat
again,
as well.
a lot of shit you can do with this level. This is very economic, isn't it?
At first level, absolutely.
Now we get level 3, Flow Like
The
Blood.
second level, yeah.
The vampire spends a point of Yang Qi. For the next 3 turns, the vampire may dodge any and all attacks directed at her as if she had her full dice pool. Boom. Now, Kyle, with the way we play World of Darkness, that doesn't mean that much. But in old rules, the way that we're supposed to be doing it, Kyle, you get 1 dodge roll and that's it.
Per combat?
Per turn.
Oh, well, I mean... Oh, so you can only dodge once, but you can't dodge another one if a vampire or if like a werewolf uses rage.
Yeah, which is why celerity fucks you up when you encountered it due to the original rules.
Right.
So this negates that. If your vampire runs up to you with dexterity, well, behold, I don't lose my dice pool and I can dodge you multiple times.
You're like fighting Shikamaru in the Naruto Shippuden Clash of Ninja game.
Oh, and also your difficulty to dodge becomes difficulty 6 for all rolls.
Also pretty solid.
So added benefit to it. I'm also looking at something here. What is this? If a vampire chooses solely to dodge during a turn, okay, so if you're not attacking, you're just dodging, your difficulty becomes 5. Incredible. Level 4, Bloodlash. The vampire spends a point of Yin or Yang Qi, opens her mouth or slits her wrist. You get a whip of blood that comes out of either your mouth or your wrist. The lash has a reach of 4 feet per point of chi you put into that attack, and it inflicts strength plus 2 aggravated damage. Alternatively,
Jesus.
it can hit for a normal strength damage, then constrict a victim. Victims seeking to escape a bloodlash must score 3 or more successes in a resisted contest of strength versus the vampire's permanent chi virtue. That's tough.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked.
That's a lot of successes that you need to roll on that.
Yep.
And if you have a shitty strength score, there's no chance you can escape it, period. And then, lastly, here's where we get fucking stupid. Level 5, Blood Awakening. Animated objects must have some means of mobility, and this power is therefore most commonly used on statues or persons of animals. You take your blood, you smear it on something, and you can start puppeteering it. The object in question must be well crafted, or else its spirit too weak to awaken. For each Yang point spent, the animated object gains 2 health levels and 1 die in a physical attribute. It will obey your orders to the best of its limited ability. A minuscule object, for example, grows huge, perhaps larger than the Kuei-Jin. The storyteller may assign an object any other properties that logic or whimsy dictates. So, Kyle, imagine the setups you can do with this. You animate objects with your blood.
I mean, that sounds kind of fucking awesome, but it's also a very cheeky way to like assassinate somebody too. It's like I'm gonna put some blood on a bookshelf and then, and that's it.
The level of traps you can set up with this power.
I think that's kind of awesome.
Where are you guys familiar with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, specifically with the character DeVoe?
I am not, no.
What's his stand power again?
Ebony Devil. He has 2 abilities. The more damage you deal to him, the stronger his attacks become to you. But additionally, he puts his stand inside of inanimate objects, and he can puppeteer them. He does this with a ventriloquist dummy that he leaves around in different buildings, and then will possess the dummy and have it come after you and try to kill you.
Huh.
That's kind of stuff you do. But because this is Blood Awakening, it doesn't say you can just use it on one object. There's no limited amount of objects you can use this on. So if you were to go up against a high-level Resplendent Crane, who had enough time to really set up a farm, you are entering a dungeon that is fucking filled with stuff that's going to kill you. You're looking at, say, with that Devo example, 20 different puppets that have all been touched with this power that all jump up, grab knives, and come after you.
That's kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Are there any kind of size or weight limitations?
With the size and weight limitation, looking at that power one more time, is there a specific size that lists off? You know, those do you list off that? Okay, ABS concentrate. I can tell you something, right? You know what? I think they forgot to write that in.
So it's whatever DM decides.
The discretion is.
Yeah, it's the
This actually reminds me of power from, I believe it's D20 Dark Ages, where it's a Kuei-June ritual, where it also animates a shit ton of objects in your hand to fight for you. So yeah, parallels.
You can just find out how fucking crazy this shit is.
Yep.
And looking at this. And the other power that these guys like taking is cultivation. I'm not going to go over every detail with cultivation, but there is a power in Wraith the Oblivion called Castigate that puts your shadow in check. This is functionally the same thing. Let me go ahead. Let me read off the power that everybody wants the most. Cleave the Demon. Second level. To cleave the demon, the vampire must spend a chi point and 2 turns to concentrate. The roll willpower difficulty 8. Success enables the separation to begin. The player must then roll a Hun versus Po score, both at difficulty 6. For each success rolled on the willpower roll, the player must add 1 die to either the Hun or Po pool. If the Hun wins, or ties, the dual soul separates and the Hun archetype is in control of the body. If the Po wins, the souls separate, but the Po is in control of the body. In any event, the remaining soul is pushed out to the Cathaian body and hovers in the Mirror Lands. A displaced soul can travel up to 500 feet from its body. While separated, the soul is treated as either yin or yang as a spirit, depending on what chi type it is. To summarize the rest of this power, it allows you to bilocate in both the material and umbra realms.
The only problem is that, like, if you let the Poco get in control, then it basically becomes Mr. Hyde.
Oh, he's going to run around and he's going to do whatever the fuck he wants, so don't fuck up that roll.
Basically, yeah. And then you got to spend all your time in the shadow, in the mirror land, chasing your body.
But
yeah, and remember, you got to fix all of your mistakes.
But if it goes right in the hunting control and you have the Poe spying around, you have a projected sense of vision that can see through the Umbra that you can use to get the drop on any target you wish to assassinate. So, I said these guys are the Asian Ventru. Now they're starting to sound like the Asian Assamites.
In a way, I mean, like, the thing is, Assamites are less concerned about direct control than the Ventru.
Imagine if the Assamites decided they wanted to play their hand in government politics.
That sounds a little bit closer to what we're getting out of the Resplendent Cranes.
Yeah, they do have a cast for that. It's the Vizier cast, I believe, that they do day-to-day politicking, day-to-day bureaucracy.
But everybody wants to be a warrior when you play an Assamite.
That or a wizard.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know when I'll get the chance to, but I would love to play a full game as Ramirez. I'm
speaking to the audience when I say this. You will never see a Vizier Assamite. You will never see that.
No.
You'll never see it, I agree.
It'll never happen. And same as you'll never see somebody playing as Clan Kiei-Jin in a vampire game. You're never going to see that. You're never going to see anybody playing Nagaraja. It's not going to happen.
What about Black Hand?
Well, we're not supposed to know that they're Black Hands.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you're not supposed to know that. And then, of course, you have the pre-made characters where... I'm not going to go into detail about this. I'm just going to bring up, why does every single character have a damn giraffe neck? You noticed this?
I don't know. We did talk about this earlier. Could just be the art style.
It's just the artist, but the Monster Hunter at least is a cool drawing. I think the eyes are a little fucked, but the rest of it looks alright.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the gentleman about town.
The gentleman about town until you realize this man's a fucking giraffe.
Yeah, but he's still, he's a well-respected man about town, doing the best things so conservatively.
Also, I got a thing for messy pencil sketches.
That's true as well. I like the Pale Professor as well.
The Professor, and Mandrake. Mandrake is listed? Do we have anything to add on to the Kuei-Jin Resplendent Cranes?
There is one thing that got my attention.
Yes.
It's like in the how to play Resplendent Crane section.
Thankfully, they have this section in this book. Yes.
There is a small thing that I found quite interesting. Is that with your Wu, so your coterie, the Resplendent Crane wants people to be virtuous, like they're a group of friends to be virtuous so badly that they are willing to lie to them and to manipulate them.
The lie will set you free.
To roughly paraphrase, because I just don't have it in front of me right now, it's like the Resplendent Crane, let the others be virtuous, let the Resplendent Crane be the one to bear the judgment of heaven for lying, but let the others be virtuous.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll pay for that sin later. Just put on my tab.
Now, one thing I noticed was some of those sort of address the paradox between the scholarly and inquisitorial elements of the Resplendent Cranes, and how they feel about people really sort of trying to look into the history of the Kuei-Jin. And it seems like the answer to these secrets are within the Resplendent Cranes, but your fellow Resplendent Cranes do not want you to know anything. In fact, they don't even want you to know that they don't want you to know things on the whole. It's a part of their brand that they're scholarly, but they're not really scholarly.
Well, after all, they know how to maintain control, because, Kyle, before we knew what was going on with BB when October 7 happened, how many people were a fan of his country?
Well, I mean, quite a few. I was actually, I was pro-Israel for the longest time before I bore witness to the very, very many thou shalt not things that he's doing.
And then we found out that Palestine was an open-air prison, and knowledge will lead to a fall of a regime.
Yep. And we all know, we all see it, and it's, sooner or later he's going to get his.
I mean, that's how Nazi Germany fell after we realized what the Holocaust was, after we saw that we went over in the Shoah book, and I forgot what the camp was called, but it was like the show camp, the fake camp that they had the American Red Cross visit.
Yep.
We found out what that actually was. That's when we got involved in World War II. And after all, the Gulag Archipelago was how the USSR fell. The freedom of information will take down a corrupt society.
Yes. It always will.
So
It's all because of Glasnost. I mean, the direct control, or, the increase in technology will make the direct control of communication impossible.
So
though they'll try with all their AI and all their monitoring and their digital IDs, there's always going to be some people that are going to spread the good word.
So if the Resplendent Cranes ever lose their way, this is them covering their ass in case that happens. That little Hun voice in the back of your mind saying, let's professionally censor the information, so if we ever do become corrupt and we ever do take over this entire faction, nobody will know what we're doing.
We'll figure it out anyway.
Oh, I forgot to mention, the side effects. The side effects of a Resplendent Crane casting a ritual. You get...
There's side effects?
Yes, one of 6 things will happen every time you do a ritual spell as a Kuei-Jin Resplendent Crane. Where, if I may list off what these things do, this is on page 64 in the book. You can cause, for effect 1 and 2, the gauntlet itself to thicken or thin by a point.
Jesus, they really are Weaverish, aren't they?
I knew that was going to blow your mind when I said that.
Yeah, that's about as blatant as you can get.
Don't mind if we do. Fuck with the gauntlet itself.
The Henge yokai probably hate the shit out of them.
These guys we were going to step sideways and fight the devil tigers. Oh shit! There's a resplendent crane.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta wait around for about 3 minutes before we can finally get to the Umbra. Just stand around with tapping your foot, checking your watch, look at the pattern spiders sticking the wall right in front of you, and you can't do anything about it. You have the power to delay the effect of the ritual, where the ritual might not go off right now, but he who casts the ritual can decide when it goes off at a later time. Kyle, which is more useful in D&D, fireball or delayed fireball?
It's situational because, like, if you just need to deal some direct damage, then fireball's good. But if you have a plan to, like, back somebody into a corner and then set a trip bomb, delayed fireball is the way to go.
And after all, you can cook the delayed fireball and it deals more damage.
Exactly.
You can strengthen the the difficulty of rolls to resist Shadow Soul, aka Poe shit influencing you, is what that esoteric term means. Will raise by a level, so get that hunt in the back of your mind to shut up for a minute. Dark visions, reflective substances will show you events that might happen. It might happen, but maybe. Or deja vu, it will show you an event that has already happened.
So it can either be incredibly useful or not useful at all.
Yes. So, well, one of 6 things depending on what your storyteller wants to have happen to you. So,
Depending on the
there
day of
you
the
go.
week, basically.
You have a dedicated effect for every weekday, and then on a Sunday we'll roll a d6, and one of these 6 things will go off.
Yes.
And there we go. I think we're done. I think that's the Resplendent Cranes.
I think that about covers it. They are.
So
yeah.
I knew we were not going to go on for as long as the Devil Tigers because this is pretty easy to understand.
It's pretty straightforward, I gotta say. It is. They're
but
part Ventru, part Assamite, I guess.
Because that's not a bad thing to have a simple option. Because if you got too freak shit with something, it throws you off. Kyle, the reason why I could never get into Pathfinder, D&D already has a massive issue with having way too fucking many freak shit options in this game, to a point where humans are completely irrelevant. It is so much worse than Pathfinder.
No, I'm going to play as Guy Manson, the human fighter.
Where in Pathfinder, the races got fucking weird. You had shit like the Galoma, where I can't even tell you what the fuck I'm looking at with it. Copying this picture and pasting it over, like, yeah, I know it's like African folklore, but at least you should be able to recognize what I'm looking at. What is this?
Yeah, I have no idea.
What the fuck is this?
I will say that the headdress is kind of cool looking. I'm not going to lie.
I know there's a meta to Pathfinder 2nd Edition where you have to do the right combination to have fucking fun in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the number crunchy hell that is.
See, that's the thing that always bothered me about... Go ahead.
Yeah, I just don't like it. I just don't like Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I like 1st Edition.
There's nothing wrong with First Edition. There's nothing wrong. Just Kyle didn't enjoy it. And that was it. That's just personal preference.
Well, no, it's just that my character lost his arm, and I'm like, well, what the fuck? What am I gonna do now?
I would just like to say one thing. It's a very small thing, but I find it funny. They have like this very minor combination ability in the Resplendent Crane book. It's like, and I am just I'm the combination aficionado of this server. I'm the combination aficionado. Yeah, the Kuei-Jin can just combine abilities. They can just combine Shintais with other abilities. And have to make brand new abilities. So good luck dealing with these guys once they get some experience under their belt and they start combining shit like cooking Canites.
Because with the freak shit option, if every Vampire Clan and Vampire the Masquerade was super fucking weird and specific in what they believed in, the game would be a lot less accessible. You can agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which is why we have the Bruja, which is why we have the Toreador. We have these very simple, easily understood vampires that, oh, I don't know what to play. Oh, well, this looks easy enough. I'll just play as this.
Basically, there's nothing wrong with that.
And same thing with Werewolf the Apocalypse, where you have, oh, that werewolf is poor. I'm going to play a Bonar. Oh, that werewolf has technology. I'm going to play a Glassworker. You have easy options like that, too.
Yes.
Or just, when we started playing this game with Ryan, he said, which of these wolves is the strongest? I said, get Fenris. He said, I'm playing as that.
And he turned out to be one of the fan favorite characters of that series.
And
So
same with
from-
May. What?
So from everything we've learned, how if you're a resplendent crane, how are your
Yes?
compatriots going to treat you?
Well, what you say is a lot because you're the only guy that actually knows what he's talking about. I mean, the Devil Tigers don't like the Resplendent Cranes. They're not fans of these guys because they are the opposite, but credit
Well, I mean,
where
like, how are the resplendent cranes going to treat you even?
well off a system of hierarchy as per usual. The more higher up you are in your Dharma, the more respect you're going to be given, and the more people are going to take you seriously. If you on the numerical scale of your Dharma rating, the higher you are up on the chain, the more weight you pull within the cranes.
Hmm.
Because very similar to how the Ventrue operate when it comes to generation.
Sounds about right.
And that's what the Resplendent Cranes are. This is the normie Kuei-Jin option. So because the Devil Tigers, as we said before, it takes you a minute to really understand these guys. And well, the Yangs, the Thrashing Dragons can be easily understood as just do what makes you feel good. But the Bone Flowers and the Thousand Whispers especially, you need to read those books in order to figure out what the fuck you're doing. These guys are weird. But it's good to have an easy option for when you're coming to this game for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
This is your first character, and it's simple enough to where you can add on to the concept without directly interfering with the concept itself.
Exactly. It's pretty straightforward in the fact it's like you are the lawful Eastern vampire, and so it is. And so your goal at that point is to be like, okay, here's the laws. Let's make sure people are following the laws. Let's kill the people that don't follow the laws. Easy peasy.
Right.
To me, it seems like they'll teach you, but they're not there to teach you an ultimate truth or anything. They're trying to teach you the path that they think you should be on, and that if you go off of it, they'll kill you.
We have a system, and you will follow it.
Yep. Otherwise known as fuck you, obey the law. That's the moral of this story.
Well, anything else we want to add to these guys, or is that a wrap?
I believe that'll do it for me.
All right. Mandrake, what? All right. We're all satisfied?
Yes.
All right. Well, GN, everyone. Let's go upload this episode now.
Good night.
Peace.